Thanks for tuning in. This is the 450 press conference, Anaheim 1, kickoff of the 2022 season. Ken Roxon, Cooper Webb, Justin Barsha, congratulations, guys. Kenny, I'll start with you. You mentioned on the podium, December, just a weird month for you with the sickness. When that stuff happens and you come into the season, what's the expectation? Is it get through the first round? Do you still have the belief that you can win early in the day? Just how do you process things throughout the morning and through practice when you know that the month's been a little off?
Well, I think part of the good thing is that I've just have a few years under my belt now. So I'm generally not too worried coming race time. Having said that, I like last year, for example, I came into the first round way different, just kind of like knowing what I got. And I didn't have as crazy of a December as I did this year. But at the same time, like I said, I have a few years under my belt and I just stay relaxed and, everything's in me. So I just wasn't really too worried. At the same time, feeling a little bit like a fish out of water, but at the same time, I don't know, things just clicked. I'm blown away at the same time, but I'm just happy that it went the way it went.
And then conditioning wise, did you feel any effects of it late in the race? I know you had the lead there, so you could manage it, but did you feel anything late?
I felt surprisingly good actually. And it just ultimately comes down to not riding a whole lot in December. And, you just tend to it's not that you're necessarily less fit. It's just when you don't do like 20s all the time, then they just feel a little bit foreign, but I felt pretty good. And like I said before, it was a little weird just having that big of a gap with that much riding time to go. And I guess it was kind of nice with how rough the track was, but it's just a weird position because you try to be a little careful, but you don't want to be too careful. So I think we managed it well.
Congrats. Jason Wygant.
Yeah, thanks. I'll go to you on this, Kenny. Your teammate was all over you at one point for the lead, and by fighting him off, then he eventually made mistakes and he went down. So just take me through the strategy of he was catching you. I know you were probably trying to manage a little bit, but did you think like, man, if I can just hold him off, who knows what could happen? Because that's exactly the way it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the track was tricky. So I was hitting the whoops pretty decently and just had overall good lines. And I knew that he's strong and he's been super fast, but I also just know how to defend well. And we just had a good battle on our hands, and I could defend and at the same time still do some of the rhythms. And I felt like I was just in a good spot, and just eventually, unfortunately, he went down, of course. That gave me that bigger gap. But up until then, it was super fun. And I'm just glad that I got the whole shot and was leading, just so I didn't have to deal with, when you have somebody really close in front of you and it starts getting ruddy, you kind of tend to not really see the ruts that well. So I just had a clear track, so that helped me out.
David Iser.
Thanks, Daniel. David Iser, DMXS Radio. Coop, this one's for you. After your long off season prepping for this Anaheim 1, how pissed were you after qualifying in those heat races going into the main?
I wasn't too bad. I mean, it's A1, everyone's always fast. You got people going for fast laps. And I mean, I think all three of us were 7, 8, and 10, I believe. But, that's how it goes. A1s, you never know the first round. It's about a start and kind of feeling things out. So I wasn't too mad. I mean, I was bummed in the heat when I tucked the front. But other than that, I knew I just needed to get a good start and didn't get the best, but I knew it was going to be a dogfight. A lot of good guys this year, but track was tough. I think you had to find that fine line of being aggressive, but also being smooth and fluent, and it worked out.
Thank you, brother.
Michael Antonovich.
Thanks, Daniel. This one is for Cooper as well. Like you mentioned, the track was a challenge today. I've pretty much heard everybody over the last 2 days talk about just how it was difficult to find a flow, how it was choppy, soft, the conditions. How did it break down from the heat race to the main? And then how did that play into your strategy? Because again, you started cutting down in the turns and kind of doing everything that you've done over these last few years, especially late in the race.
Yeah, it broke down a lot. And I think it was a bit weird. I mean, even the build and everything, even at press day, to me just felt a little different than our traditional ones. And to be honest, I struggled in practice a bit. Some places were super tight. Some places are pretty open, and the rhythms were kind of built tricky. And then the whoops were super slippery. So yeah, it was definitely a bit of everything. And I think it broke down quite a lot. I mean, there at the end, it was almost survival mode, just jumping the jumps and getting through it. So surprising for sure, especially here at Anaheim, but everyone says it's been pretty wet, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. But, I'm sure Oakland will be similar.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Michael Lindsay, Vital Next.
My question is for Ken Roczen, somewhat similar to what Antonovich proposed. It was chaos tonight. I'm sure you'll get to see, Kenny, when you get to replay the race yourself, that a lot happened behind you. With all that, though, going into the main event, was there any conscious decisions you made on bike setup to, try to be more forgiving for certain sections of the track, or as the first couple laps played out, was there anything really mentally that caught you that you either had to be cautious about or that you were really aware of on the track that you were trying to be consistent with?
Yeah, I was clicking around a little bit, but basically just went back to my base. And I don't know. That's what I meant. Like, I just haven't really ridden that much. So then you have a tricky track and kind of like, bike setup, and you're chasing it a little bit when you ride more consistently and all the time, you just kind of sometimes deal with it, So I pretty much just left it for the main event. And, it's not like I was 100% happy with it, but at the same time, it's, it's what you got in that very moment. And I also think that for it being an Anaheim 1, that was probably the most brutal track we've had, especially with the whoops being, as steep as they were, and they got super cupped, and, this fine line of skimming and jumping and whatnot. And it's like what Cooper said, in the end, it was kind of just survival mode and trying to find some lines that are halfway decent. So I didn't click around too much and kind of just left it. And I mean, of course, there's always something that you want to work on, but race day, you got to pick your battles.
Considering A1 is usually fairly mellow, or is it some years isn't, where the material was so different this year, considering how well you and the team and the bike handled it, does it make you more confident as we move into the series and you'll see more tracks like this, particular as we go East Coast?
I mean, I think it does, just because it was very rough tonight and we had very tricky whoops, and yet we did really good. So of course that's a little bit of a confidence booster mentally and physically. So we have a decent base now. We're going to try and continue to work on it and just get a little bit better, but at the same time, try not to chase our tails.
Alex Gobert.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, Alex Gobert, motoonline.com. For Justin Barsha, you didn't win the opening round this year, but on the podium, so a good result nonetheless. How do you feel about it? How important is it to get these early points on the board, and you don't have the red plate for round 2, so a little bit less pressure, I suppose, at this point of the year?
Yeah, definitely. It feels great. I'm very happy where I'm at right now. It was a wild night of racing. It was definitely tricky, like the guy said, kind of survival mode towards the end. I was quite happy. I wasn't quite happy when Cooper got around me, but I was able to, catch on to his lines, and I was just trying to jump stuff stupid, and I needed to tighten the track up a little and do smarter lines. So that helped a lot. Got a little tight in the middle there, but all in all, yeah, it feels amazing to be on the podium. Obviously didn't get the 4P. Everyone was going on about that, but it feels really good to have that off my shoulders now. And I'm just looking forward to the season. The team's done a really good job. Been enjoying riding with Michael and Pierce, training with Will. It's just been really enjoyable and fun, and it was a great night. I'm really happy with it.
Good to see. Well done.
Thank you.
Kellen Brower.
Yeah, thanks, Kellen Brower with RacerX. I'm going to stick with Justin on this one. As we alluded to earlier, it was a very kind of crazy night through the midfield with racing, and you at one point were catching guys, and then you had people catching you, and there's crashing in front of you, and there's kind of just chaos everywhere. How difficult is it mentally to kind of stay almost focused on yourself and make sure you're hitting your marks with all the chaos going around?
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually quite happy with myself, how I managed the race. I had pressure on me pretty much the whole race. I wasn't the fastest guy. Jason got around me, and then I was able to get him back, which was good, and just focus on myself. So the whole race, it was, a lot of pressure, but I'm usually able to handle that quite well. And I was able to keep my head on straight. And with that track, it was definitely one of the more wicked ones for the first one. Like the guy said, the whoops were steep. It was slippery. There was tight spots and open spots, and they threw it at us for sure. So it was made for some great racing, and I'm just glad I kept on 2 wheels, healthy, on the podium, and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Benjamin.
This goes to Kenny. So congratulations also from Germany. This is early in the morning. About a question, you have a good gap to the second. How does it feel with your past pains from the years ago in the last quarter? So have you any pains where is that okay? Be careful.
I no, and generally no. I haven't really been pain though. Like my left hand has been a little funky that I can't shake off for the moment, but I don't know. It's just little aches and pains that I normally don't have, but for whatever reason, certain parts of the body just sometimes get more aggravated than others. But other than that, I'm pretty stoked with how my arms have been.
This makes you happy, I think, for the future this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Nick, Moto Limited.
Nick, not on DB, but I'll take over. Trent from Moto Limited. I've got one for Coop. Coop, you've had to dig yourself out of the championship, out of a hole in the championship to win the first two times you did. This time, starting second overall in the first round, something to build on for here. With all the changes in your preseason program, is this sort of what you were trying to work towards? Is starting the season better than you have in the previous years?
Oh, absolutely. It's a much better spot to be in, especially after last year. So yeah, I'm stoked with it. Like I said, and earlier it was something where practice we were definitely a little off, and to be on the podium and with a second, I'm stoked. You know, especially with how the night unfolded, and it's definitely nice to be in the thick of things moving forward and not being with your back against the wall after round one. So yeah, looking forward to kind of starting the season stronger and seeing where that leads us.
Dark side.
Justin Barsha, the pass on Jason Anderson. Let's get your side of it. You know, your viewpoint on it. There's always two sides to every story, but I want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, I'm not surprised someone asked that because that's usually how it goes. But
yeah,
did you watch the pass?
Oh yeah, it was gnarly. Yeah. It was good, but
no, it wasn't gnarly at all. It was a great racing pass. I didn't hit him too hard. We barely touched, and I went on with my way. I think obviously he probably would have liked to cover that line better, but the way the ruts were, I don't think he was able to do that. And I set myself up in that corner where he passed me better for the next section, and I was able to stick that. And honestly, he probably would have got me if I didn't get that spot there because he was riding a lot better than me. So yeah, I had to go for it early, and I'm stoked on a good racing pass. All the passes today were great racing passes, and yeah, I always go for it, you know, but I think those were all wicked good passes, and hope the season keeps like that. You know, we all respect each other a lot, and yeah, won't carry anything from this. Hopefully the other guys won't.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks.
Jonathan McCready.
Question for Cooper. Cooper, the start of that main event didn't look like it was really going your way. You were getting shuffled back a bit. There was carnage all around you. Eli Tomac was actually not too far away from you. Malcolm Stewart on you as well. But how do you remain calm? What are you saying to yourself in those moments to be able to regain your composure and pick up your pace to get back through to second place?
Yeah, it was a lot of chaos. Like you said, there was bikes going everywhere, left, right. Definitely guys rubbing, trying to get those early passes in. So yeah, it's tough, man. It really is. You kind of want to go for it, but you also kind of want to get through those first few, especially how we were all bunched up. And then you kind of have some guys that, you know, are going to maybe fall off the back a little bit. So you don't want to lose track position, which I feel like we kind of did tonight. But overall, you know, going through, getting around guys, and with the conditions, you know, you try to set up a pass, but going through the rhythms, you don't know where you're going to end up sometimes. So it was definitely a little chaotic, but just try to stay calm and know what I'm doing or not doing, if it's working or not. And, you know, it's definitely calculated and who you're racing, where you try to pass. You can't show where you want too soon. And you can't wait around too long or you'll get left. So that's the joy of racing. It's always a different weekend, different scenario. So I always enjoy that.
Thank you.
Justin Schuler.
I'm good. My question was asked. It was on Barsha. Well, actually, Barsha, did Anderson talk to you in the pits at all, or I'm assuming not, but just to throw that out there.
No, I just came straight here, but I would hope he wouldn't, because there's nothing to talk about. I mean, obviously you guys are trying to make a story out of it. I respect that, but no, it was a great pass. And no, I don't think he's the type of guy that's gonna, I mean, I don't know, I don't know where he's at mentally, but I don't think he is gonna be like, if he watches it, he'll go, that was a racing pass. So yeah, no worries there.
Well, I don't know if it's a story necessarily on that. It's probably more of a story on just like the aggression of all the night, because it wasn't just you two. I mean, Mookie got it pretty good with another rider. We saw a lot of hard crashes with the 250 class. So was that just the nature of the track, or just the nature of coming back to racing?
No, it was a technical track, as in there were so many ruts and they kept cutting down. And you had to, to make passes, be fairly aggressive. So yeah, I'm sure, that's why there was a lot of aggressive racing. And yeah, we've all been, thinking about racing for a while. So we got a lot of, testosterone going and stuff, and just want to go out there and send it. So I think it's going to be a fun year with racing with the boys. I look forward to it. It was great racing tonight.
Awesome. Thanks.
Two more. We'll go Ryan with Cycle News, and then Jason Wygant. We'll go you after Ryan.
Well, thanks, Daniel. It's for Justin. Like the last few years, you come out swinging, get the opening win, but then kind of later on through the season, kind of fizzle out, I guess. Like just getting a third tonight kind of set you up a little bit better, like less pressure, and give you like more to work for later on in the season.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm stoked on my result tonight. Obviously, you always want to win. That would be sick. Like, someone's got to win. Kenny did it tonight. Coop was on second. I was third. So I'm racing against the best guys in the world. So I'm super happy with the podium position. I feel like I'm in a great place. Second year on the team. It feels really good. I'm really at home with them. I'm comfortable. So yeah, we're just going to keep, chipping away at it, shooting for podiums, obviously go for wins and have fun. Definitely my goal is to, be in the fight all year long. That was my goal last year. And I think, I came up a bit short on that. So this year, the focus is just being smart, having great races, putting myself in good positions and going for it.
Right on. Yeah. Great ride tonight.
Thank you.
Weech.
Yeah, Cooper Webb, you have a new motorcycle. I know you said you got to ride it on a pretty good variety of tracks in the off season, but I'm sure it's hard to replicate what you saw out here. So are there things you learned? Are there going to be some changes going into the next couple of races?
Yeah, no doubt. There's definitely some work to do. We do your off season, and for me, I was in Florida, so you get a variety of tracks, but nothing's like racing. That little bit more intensity, that little more effort, the nerves, the roughness of the track. So yeah, we'll get to work and try to improve. I feel like we can improve the bike a good little bit and see where it ends up. But overall, I think it's a really nice platform to start with, and I think our base setting is close enough, and we'll try to improve it, but don't go crazy and try to, get yourself lost.
Sneak one more. Michael Antonovich wants one more.
Cool. Thanks, Daniel. This one is for Ken. Like Justin just alluded to, a lot of, tension, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of preseason work that's all gone into this. So you guys were very anxious to get on the track today. You're in Chase's battle early in the 450 main event. That's one of those where if you make a mistake, it could go either way. How was it for you to fight him off like that, kind of keep your level-headed ways, and then just keep going forward as the night went on while everything else behind you just kind of went sideways for everyone else?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like there was a lot of stuff going on back there. So I was glad I wasn't in that, but I definitely, I didn't have it easy on me the whole way. He was definitely pushing on me and trying to get me. So I had to ride defensively a little bit. And I felt like I did a good job and having instincts and defending him. So I don't know. I just had a sense of calmness and I wasn't stressing about anything. I was hitting the whoops fairly decent. And I just did every single lap, the same thing and try to kind of roll with whatever he throws at me. And then obviously he went down and other than that, I was ready for whatever was to come. So other than that, once he was down, obviously I had a bit of a gap and that made things a little bit easier. But again, with this type of track, the slightest little bit of relaxation can bite you. So, but for having that big of a gap, it actually didn't feel like that long of a moto. Cause sometimes, it can kind of feel long and the time just doesn't go by. So I don't know, things just kind of rolled my way tonight. And I felt good about it.
Thanks, guys.
Congratulations, guys. See you in Oakland. Thanks.